I am Lexington Maximus with your admissions diamond of the day. Today's special training, the art of the QBQ below the surface. The art of the QBQ is one of the most powerful tools that you can utilize in creating deeper connection and uncovering and connecting your explorer with deep emotion, the deep emotion of what inspires them to consider becoming a ... However, most admissions reps don't utilize it. And the reason is not because it's hard or challenging, it's simply because they don't practice and role play enough. With any new perspective, you need to practice and role play constantly to integrate it into your daily experience, your daily communication with your explorers. And most admissions representatives, when I give them initial training in this, they're like, well, my God, this is great stuff, Lexington. However, and when I hear them on phone calls or observe them in tours, they ain't using it. And the reason is because they move on the surface from it. They'll say, yep, great idea, and forget about it. Unless you practice and role play this constantly, you will not use it. So number one lesson today is to practice and role play this. Every day, 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Practice some scenarios on the art of the QBQ. Now, I'm going to give you a simple formula for the art of the QBQ. However, there are infinite permutations with the 6 QBQ starters. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Make sure you write these down. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Perhaps you may even want to tattoo those on your arm or your hand or your forehead. That wouldn't help because you wouldn't be able to see them unless you were looking in a mirror, which then you would be able to see them. However you do it, memorize them. Now here's a possible scenario. This is a good formula. You can write this formula down too. Certainly you could change it based upon what a person answers in questions, but this is a very good formula that works for most answers that people give you. One of the scripted questions, I'm curious, what inspires you to consider becoming a cosmetologist? Person says, oh, I love making people feel beautiful. Fantastic. Now most people go on like this. What's your highest level of education? That's a brand new question. You did not explore the depths of that first answer. Unless you explore deeper, you won't connect your explorer with their emotion and they won't be moving. There won't be any motion created. So here's an example. I'm curious what inspires you to consider becoming a cosmetologist. Oh, I just love making people look beautiful. Awesome. When, write that down, the formula, when is the first time you realize you love making people feel beautiful? Oh, wow, I haven't thought of that in a long time. I was probably about 7 years old. Wow, that's awesome. 7 years old, that's young. What, write this down, what happened when you were 7 years old where you ended up making someone look beautiful? Oh, well, my sister had just come home from a hair appointment she had because she had a prom that night. And she looked insane because of her hair. Her hair looked like she went to a witches' convention while simultaneously going through a Category 5 tornado, while simultaneously being put through a blender. And her hair was like 15 feet out of her head, and she looked terrible. She was crying and upset. Like, oh my God, that doesn't sound good. And what did you do? Well, I felt really bad for her, so I said, hey sis, you mind if I do like little Edward Scissorhands on you? I just saw the movie. And I was kind of joking with her, but she's like, you know what? You can't make it look worse. And I really couldn't make it look worse. It looked so bad, it was nuts. And I don't know how I knew what to do, maybe from the Edward Scissorhands movie, but I made her hair look better. I just cut certain places, and at the end of that, she looked way, way better. Wow, that's awesome. How, QBQ, write this down, how did she feel after you helped her? Well, she felt so much better. She stopped crying. In fact, she went on to the prom and had a great time of her life. That's awesome. And how, write that down, did you feel? Wow, you know what? I felt great too. And in fact, she even gave me $1. And yeah, I remember that. Wow, that's beautiful. And imagine helping people feel beautiful every day, lots and lots of people, and I bet you will make more than $1 doing it. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. And yeah, actually, that would be great. Awesome. What's your highest level of education? See, I explored with about 4 questions. And your QBQs generally are between 2 to 4 questions. You don't want to go on to like 8, 10 questions. but generally between 2 to 4 questions where you explore the depths of that answer so you really understand where they're coming from. And that will help inspire so many more people because they're going to feel their emotion. And remember, emotion inspires people to motion, to action. Role play and practice this. If you don't, you won't start using this. And this is one of your most powerful tools. Till next time, I'll see you. This is Lex.